Hey, Westbrook Online, thank you so much for joining us today for this weekend's message. We're so thrilled that you're a part of our online congregation, and we would love, as we say almost every week, stay connected to us. Let us know that you're watching this. You can email us at info@westbrook.church. That's info@westbrook.church. Let us know how we can pray for you. Let us know how we can be connected with you. And we want to minister to you in the very best way that we can. As we begin today, like I often do, I want to start again with a question. And the question is this: how heavy does life feel right now? And not the version of you that shows up at work, not the version of you that smiles in conversation. I mean the real you. The part that lies awake at night, the part that feels the pressure, the part that quietly wonders, can I keep doing this? Because if we're honest, life feels heavy, yeah? And it's not just in our heads, there are real reasons for it. In fact, write this down. Let me give you 3 that I think we're all feeling right now. First of all, we are overloaded by pace. We are living at a speed no generation before us has ever experienced. There is no real clear line between work and home anymore. The office used to be the place you left, but now it lives in your pocket. Emails don't stop, messages keep coming, notifications buzz at every hour. And even when you finally do sit down to rest, often your mind doesn't. It keeps replaying conversations and running through to-do lists and anticipating what's next. And the problem isn't that just we're busy, it's that we're constantly on. There's no rhythm, no margin, no true pause. We move from one thing to the next, often without ever feeling present, fully being present in the moment that we're in. I mean, you can be at dinner with your family and still mentally be at work. You can be lying in bed at night and still feel like the day hasn't ended. Our bodies may stop, but our minds keep racing. And over time, that kind of pace can do something to our soul. It begins to wear you down in ways that you maybe fully can't exactly explain. You feel tired, but not just physically. It's deeper than that. It's a kind of exhaustion that comes from never fully disconnecting, never fully resting, never fully being still. And the truth is, we were never created to live like that. God designed us with limits. He built into creation a rhythm of work and rest, of effort and renewal. But when we ignore those rhythms and try to sustain a pace that we were never meant to carry, it's no wonder that life begins to feel heavy. We are overloaded by pace. Secondly, we are overwhelmed by pressure. Financial pressures, family expectations, the pressure to succeed, to provide, to keep everything together. And layered on top of that is the pressure that we put on ourselves to be better, to do more, to not fall behind. It's like carrying a weight that you can't put down. And what makes this pressure so heavy is that it comes from every direction at once. It's not just one area of life. It's like all of life. You feel it at work. Where expectations keep rising. You feel it at home, where responsibilities never seem to end. You feel it internally, where the voice in your head keeps saying you should be further along by now. And even when no one is saying all those things, you feel it. There's a pressure to be a great parent, a strong spouse, a successful professional, a good friend, and somehow hold it all together without dropping anything. And when something does slip, because it always does, yeah, you don't just feel inconvenience, you feel like you've failed. And then comparison quietly steps in and makes it worse. You scroll through someone else's life and it looks like they're doing it better. Their family looks happier. Their career looks stronger. Their life looks more together. And suddenly, the pressure you were already carrying gets even heavier. And now it's not just about managing your life, it's about measuring up. And over time, that kind of pressure becomes exhausting because you're not just living, you're performing. You're trying to meet expectations that never stop moving. You're trying to carry responsibilities that never seem to lighten. And the result is that constant sense that no matter how much you do, it's never quite enough. And that's why it feels like a weight that you can't put down because even when you stop moving physically, the pressure is still there mentally. It follows you. It sits with you. It stays with you. And the longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes. We're overwhelmed by pressure. Here's the third thing. We are overstimulated but under-rested. We're constantly connected, but we're rarely present. Constantly consuming, but rarely quiet. Our minds are full, but our souls are empty. We wake up and we reach for our phones, news, podcasts, social media, texts, emails. They never stop. Silence has become unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. Every pause is filled, every quiet moment replaced with more input. And the result, well, your mind gets crowded. There's no space to process, no room to breathe, no margin for your soul to catch up with your life. You can't sleep a full 8 hours because you don't have time. But even when you do sleep a full 8 hours, you still feel drained because your soul never rested. That's where many of us live right now. We're tired, but we're still going. We're heavy, but we're still functioning. We're outwardly fine, but inwardly something feels off. A full mind and an empty soul always leaves us exhausted, longing not for more activity, but for real rest. And that's exactly why we're starting this new series. Because if you were with us over the last several weeks in this series called Nothing Personal, we talked about something that many of us feel every day. In that series, we talked about how easy it is to take things personally, to react quickly, to carry the weight of strained relationships and misunderstandings and emotional tension. We talked about how Jesus calls us to a different way, to respond instead of react, to extend grace instead of assuming the worst, to live with a kind of emotional and spiritual maturity that stands out in a reactive world. But here's what we all know if we're honest. Even when you handle relationships better, even when you grow in how you respond, life can still feel heavy because stress doesn't just come from how people treat us, it comes from how much we are carrying. And so get this, if Nothing Personal, that series, Nothing Personal, helped us navigate what happens between us, this series is about what's happening inside of us. Because when, you can learn to respond well on the outside and still be overwhelmed on the inside, and that's where this series for the next couple weeks is going to take us. Over the next several weeks, we're going to talk about something that we don't just need to understand, we need to experience, and that is peace. Not the kind that you talk about, but the kind that you actually feel. Not surface level relief, but deep soul level rest. Listen, not quick fixes, not spiritual cliches, but real peace, lasting rest, a lighter load. We're going to look at what Scripture says, the rhythms that restore us, and most importantly, the presence of Jesus, who meets us right in the middle of our stress, not after it's gone. And today we start here. Write this down. We start with the weight we carry. The weight we carry, because before you can experience real peace, you have to be honest about what's heavy. And into a world that feels a lot like ours, Jesus speaks, right? But don't miss this. Jesus didn't say these words in a calm, unhurried, a stress-free environment. No, He spoke the words that we're going to look at in a moment into a culture that was already worn down and weighed down. The people listening to Jesus were already living under the heavy hand of the Roman Empire. A political pressure, economic strain, financial concerns, uncertainty about the future. Life was not easy. And on top of that, they were carrying something even heavier, religious pressure. See, the religious leaders of the day, they had taken what was meant to be a relationship with God, and they turned it into a system of rules and expectations and constant performances. And so instead of lifting people up, it weighed them down. Instead of bringing them freedom, it created exhaustion. In fact, in Matthew chapter 23 and verse 4, if you want to jot that verse down, Jesus says this about them, these religious leaders. It says, they tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and they lay them on people's shoulders. And so when Jesus says, come to me all who are weary and burdened, he is speaking directly into that reality. The word heavy doesn't just mean tired. It means, and it carries this idea of being worn out from striving, exhausted from trying to keep up, trying to measure up, trying to carry what life and others have placed on you. And the word burden in the original language means to be loaded down with cargo, like a ship that has taken on more than it was designed to carry. It's not that life is busy, it's just that it's become too much. At this point, let's take a moment, grab your Bibles, and let's read the text together so we can hear directly from Jesus' lips. Look at Matthew chapter 28. I'm going to give you a second to find that. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. You find that. Here's how it reads. It's in red letters, so Jesus said this. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Jesus is looking at people who are physically tired and emotionally drained and spiritually exhausted. And he doesn't just give them another command. He gives them an invitation. He says, come to me, Jesus says, and I will give you rest. And that word rest means deep relief, a refreshing of the soul, a release from pressure, not just a break, but restoration. It's like a bridge that was designed to carry a certain amount of weight, right? And day after day, more and more load is added until stress fractures begin to form. And from the outside, it still looks intact. Cars are still driving over it. Trucks are still driving over it. Life is still moving, but underneath, it's weakening. That's how a lot of people are living. They're functioning on the outside, but they're carrying more than we were ever designed to hold. And into that exact moment, Jesus says these words. Not with more pressure, not with more expectation, but with an invitation to lay the weight down. And that's exactly where we want to begin, because get this, write this down. Before anything changes, we need to recognize what we're carrying. So here's the first point. Recognize the weight you were never meant to carry. Jesus begins by naming reality, right? We're weary and burdened. He doesn't just minimize it. He doesn't ignore it. He brings it into the light, because the truth is, we are carrying more than we were ever created to carry. Like I just talked about, we carry stress from work into our homes. We carry relational tension in our hearts. We carry anxiety about things that haven't even happened yet. And then there are invisible weights that we carry, regrets from our past, fears about the future, the quiet voice that says, you are not enough. And what happens is over time, it builds and builds and builds, layer upon layer upon layer, and life just doesn't feel busy. It feels heavy. Psalm 55 and verse 22 says, cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. Cast means to throw it off, to release it completely, because what you are holding, often what we're holding was never really meant to stay in our hands. If I could kind of illustrate this, it's kind of like going to the grocery store and you were only going to pick up a couple of things, but you decide that you needed a whole lot more. And so you come out of the store and you have all of these bags, you see, and you think to yourself, well, I can get them all. It's no big deal. And so you pick them all up and you put them in your hands, and then you start to walk, and then you realize, well, wait a minute, I've got a few more things that I need to get. And so then you tuck stuff under your arm and you decide that you're going to just go ahead and carry all of these bags in one hand. It's not a big deal. I can do all of this. And so then you try to walk and you're carrying all this stuff. And somebody says to you, you could make 2 trips. And yet you say, no, it's not a big deal. I've got it. I can handle it. I can control it. No problem. I can do it all. That's how we live. That's how we live. But friends, listen, once you recognize the weight, the next step is harder. Because now you have to decide what you're going to do with it. So here's the second thing. Release what you were never designed to control. Instead of releasing our burdens, here's what we do. We try to manage them, right? We try to carry it all. We try to do it all. We cope. We stay busy so we don't have to think. We distract ourselves so that we don't have to feel. We try to control outcomes so that we don't have to trust. But control is an illusion. And the more that we try to carry what we can't control, life becomes heavier. First Peter chapter 5, verse 7 says, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Anxiety, it means to be pulled in different directions. That's what stress does to us. It divides our mind. It drains your strength. It leaves you fragmented. And the Holy Scriptures, the Bible says, don't manage it, release it. Don't try to control it. Give it to Jesus. It's like trying to lift something that requires a machine. You can strain and struggle, but friends, we were never designed to carry everything alone. And that's where everything begins to shift, because this passage speaks to us. Jesus doesn't just tell you to let go. He offers you something better. Catch this. This is the text we're looking at. He says this, receive the rest that only Jesus can give. Jesus says in these verses, right? Look at verse 29. He says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy. My burden is light. A yoke connected 2 animals together, but usually one animal was stronger than the other. And the stronger one carried the load. The weaker one just kind of walked alongside. And so catch this. This is what this text is saying. Jesus is saying, walk with me, and I will carry what you cannot. The word there in the original language, Christos, is the word easy. It means well-fitting. It means custom designed. In other words, what I give you will fit your life in a way your current burden never could. This is an exchange. Your burden for his, your anxiety for his peace, your striving for his rest. And that leads us to the final step. Because this just isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily relationship. Remain close to the one who carries you. What does Jesus say in that part, right? He says, come to me. I will give you rest. I will help you find rest for your souls. I will help you find rest for your soul. The word rest there, again, is not the kind of rest that you get after taking a long nap or a weekend getaway. No, it is a deep soul level kind of rest, the kind of rest that quiets your mind and settles your heart and restores your spirit. That is the inner peace that doesn't depend on circumstances and bank accounts and schedules. But here's the hard truth. Here's the hard truth. Jesus isn't offering a one-time solution. He isn't inviting us to this quick fix or a spiritual drive-by. He calls us into a relationship. He says this, take my yoke upon you. He says, learn from me. Folks, that's relational language. That's daily, moment-by-moment connection with Jesus. You have to stay connected. You have to remain close. And here's where most of us get it wrong. I mean, we want his help. Yeah, we want his help, but we want it on our terms. We want relief, but only as long as it doesn't disrupt our schedules or comfort zones. We want guidance, but we want to do life our way. And that's the trap. Peace doesn't come from negotiating with Jesus. Peace comes from obedience and surrender and alignment. Are you with me today? Staying close to Jesus means getting honest with him about your life. It's not just your struggles, but your sin and your shortcuts and your tendencies to try to manage things by yourself and control things on your own terms. It means saying this. It means saying this, God, I can't do this anymore. I need your way. I need you. And that's the step most of us resist because it's uncomfortable. It challenges our pride and exposes control, and it steps on our toes, including our own. But folks, that's exactly where growth happens, and that's exactly where rest begins. John 15 says it simply. John 15 says, abide in me. Stay. No, don't just come for the big moments. Don't just call on me when the pressure peaks. Abide. Make your life revolve around God. Let his words, your words shape your choices. His priorities shape your schedule. His heart shape your relationships. Peace isn't found in a single prayer. It is found in a life fully connected to him. And here's the reality for all of us. Listen, if you want a burden lifted, if you want your stress exchanged for his rest, you cannot keep doing life your way. You cannot keep compartmentalizing your faith and negotiating or pretending that you have it all under control. You have to fully step into the one who carries you. It's that simple and it's that hard. So ask yourself, am I staying close or am I drifting? Am I abiding or am I just visiting? Am I giving Jesus space to carry me or am I still insisting on shouldering the load alone? Because until we let him lead us, until we let him carry us, peace will remain just out of reach. But the moment we choose him, truly follow him, align our lives with his way, something incredible happens. The weight can begin to lift, our hearts can begin to settle, and the rest that we've finally been chasing for can finally begin to find us. And so let me ask you one more time. How heavy does life feel right now? The weight you're carrying isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional and relational. The stress, the fear, the pressure, they pile up quickly, sometimes invisibly, until they're unbearable, yeah? But here's the good news. Jesus isn't standing at a distance, watching you struggle. He sees you. He knows every burden, every worry, every sleepless night. And what's more, he's saying to you personally, you don't have to carry this all by yourself. So what is it you're holding on to today? What is it that you're holding on to today? Anxiety about the future, regret from the past, responsibilities that feel too heavy to bear. Jesus isn't asking you to figure it all out or prove yourself. He's asking you to stop carrying it alone. Bring it to him now, not later, right? When life slows down, bring it to him right now. Peace doesn't start when life gets easier. It starts when you stop carrying the load by yourself. It starts when you stop leaning on your own strength and you start walking with him. And here's the reality. Listen, here's the reality that can change everything. The reality that can change everything. The moment you hand it over to Jesus, your heaviest burdens begin to feel lighter, and nothing will ever weigh you down the same.